Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast of Joe Cazana Promotions. And last week we had the Fixtures on. So this week we're going to give equal time to the country gentleman. That would be AJ Cazana and his cousin, my cousin, Anthony Andrews. Welcome, guys.
My cousin.
Shut up,
How's
Spank.
it going, guys?
Nobody wants to be related to you, Spanky.
That's hurtful.
Good to
I
meet you,
I
Spanky.
appreciate
I don't
y'all.
want to be related to you.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you guys coming on this evening on such short notice, but we're trying to get this thing done and out there before the 31st next week. I'm going to jump right into this.
Celebrate with the U.S. Tag Team Championships, right?
Well,
so you get to have us back on.
I watched the podcast that you guys were on earlier, and you kind of danced around the question a little bit, especially AJ. The belts. Are you going to take possession of the new belts?
That's the plan, I would assume. I don't care what fancy cummerbund you put around my waist. It's the title of United States Tag Team Champions is what we're after. Belts look nice. I do like the new belts that Corgan got for Mr. William Patrick got that Legursky was rude about accepting and honestly just downright refused to do it. So
I thought they were really nice. I mean, they kind of reminded me of the old WWF heavyweight championship with the 7 plates. I thought it was really, really super cool. I know Anthony did.
I'm with AJ on that. I mean, we're going to be gentlemen. We're going to take them when he presents them to us, because of course it doesn't matter what we're holding as long as we're representing the NWA US Tag Team Championship. That's what we want. So if that's the belt that he likes, those are good looking belts, and we'll carry them around the country and down to Mexico.
They're great looking belts. I mean, I was in St. Louis with you guys the night of the 20 team battle royal for the US titles, and the belts that Corgan brought in for that. I mean, they were really, really nice championships, kind of molded off the old Florida Tag Team Championships, I believe. And the Fixtures have taken athletic tape and just taped them up. And for what reason, I don't know. But I mean,
they've got to have their names on them so they don't forget who owns them or who has rights to them. Because if they didn't have their names on them, they wouldn't know which one was which.
I got you guys. And I said this. Go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, I was going to say that night in St. Louis, the night before was when AJ beat Jordan Clearwater in that tag championship, right?
That would be correct. Yeah. When you guys,
I want to make sure I was thinking of the right night.
We beat Gold Rush. I haven't seen Marche since then. You know that? I've not seen him at all. I don't know what happened.
Who knows? That's a good question.
Says, I didn't know you could do an O'Connor roll.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. I was really offended.
Well, I mean, you're a 295-pound guy. I don't see many 295-pound guys doing the Tim Horner finish.
First off, it's Pat O'Connor's finish.
Originally, you are correct. So, well, I think I told you I apologize for that as well.
Profusely, actually. You got on your knees and you said, "Please don't be mad at me."
I'm going to pull
Tennessee with you.
I'm going to pull a Kobe Carino. Andrew Joseph, you need to stop that stuff.
That's what happened. But Spanky's figured out his little background thing.
That's
figured it out. Look.
No, that's cool. I like my Star Trek stuff better. I mean, that's just me. Okay, real quick, Anthony, you're out in Texas. You got that championship behind you. RCW, is that what it was?
Yep, River City Wrestling. They've been around. It's been 20 years now. They just had the 20th anniversary. So Brandon Oliver, who runs it, he trained under Shawn Michaels, I believe, when he had his school out here. Just a great company to work for. And again, I've had that championship, the international championship, off and on for 3 years. I've only lost a match twice, and the very next time they realized that they couldn't hang, they couldn't cut it. And so I've been the most dominant champion in RCW history for the last 3 years.
I was going to say, I see that championship with you all the time. And then, of course, AJ has been SPCW champion for well over a year now.
It'll be 2 years. My 2-year anniversary is in November. Thanksgiving Day, actually.
If you hang on to it, that you're right. That's 2 years. Anthony,
It's been a
Anthony,
long 2 years.
real quick, Spanky, you're up there anyway. You know what goes on up in La Follette.
Yeah, there's some
Anthony,
shady
real
things going up
quick,
there.
who actually trained you when you first broke in? Who broke you in?
So originally, it was a gentleman in Georgia named Sam Slaughter and Marvelous Michael Stevens. Michael Stevens was my tag partner for about 7, 8 years. Greatest mind in the wrestling business that I've met still. He's younger than me, and the guy just understands everything. Those are the guys who initially I trained with, put in a lot of work, and then just over time worked with guys. Let's see, about 12, 13 years ago now, met Sal Renaro and Bill Behrens. I worked a lot on a TV product down there in Warner Robins, Georgia. And so that's where I met them. I started to understand a little bit more about wrestling and what I was doing. And so just grew from there. Then one of the things that I try and do is never assume that I know everything. I travel around. I'll talk to you whenever I get to see you and try and get more information, but went out to Houston, started training with Booker T. I was there for, I want to say 3 or 4 years, and just travel around. I'm even going to learn from someone next week down in San Antonio. Most people know what's happening in San Antonio next week and the company that will be down here. So I'm going down there because you can never stop learning. I think that's why I'm with the NWA. I think that's why AJ and I work so well, because we keep striving for more. You know,
you guys,
he's been wrestling for a little bit now, and we keep working hard. I think
right. You guys said it best.
Yeah,
you guys said it best 30 minutes ago on the NWA podcast. Is family is you can't take that away from what you guys bring to the table. You know each other. You know each other's moves. It's like you were saying. You knew AJ would be behind you when you needed him, when you all worked against the Spectaculars, and he was that was a huge win. I mean, considering the fact that Rolando has beaten Matt Cardona twice, that was a big win. And Rolando will tell you not once but twice. Every chance he gets, I see him. He says two times. I said, right, I know, man, I know. He's actually going to be in Petros in a couple of months with us.
Nice.
And I was telling AJ and a couple others, if you guys do end up winning the U.S. Tag Team Championships, the Petros show is going to drastically change. I know that right now that there's a big 8-man tag match up there as the main event, but if you guys pull off the win over the Fixtures and hang on to these things, I mean, I'd almost be foolish not to have the two of you guys defending the U.S. Tag Team titles in Petros, Tennessee. I've had Kenzie and Ella here, and they've defended. I mean, we try our best to bring in the best talent that we can at JCP, and that's and AJ will tell you. We've got, I think, one of the best cores of wrestlers here. These guys work for other promotions out there, sure, and some of us do share talent. There's Imperial Pro that is run by a good friend of mine, and he does a great job. Matt does a great job out at SPCW. So I mean, yeah, you guys pull this thing off. I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, I guess that would actually make you two #1 contenders for the World Tag Team Championships, right?
I would think so. And to what you were saying, I mean, AJ travels around. I mentioned on the NWA podcast, I just saw him a couple months ago down in North Carolina. He's coming to Texas in a little while. I'll be announcing soon. I'll be coming up to Tennessee for more stuff. So the reason why I always have that championship is because of quality promotions. RCW has a good roster. They always have quality shows. That's why I like you guys' show. SPCW, things like that. There's certain companies in these pockets that you guys have. Your show these pockets of wrestlers that are just incredible. That's why you don't have to bring in a lot of other people. You bring in some to accent your show, but you guys have such a strong roster. You talk about anybody there, Gustavo, AJ, Silas, Kenzie, all these people. You don't have to bring in a ton of people because you're growing your own talent, people who can go all over the country. And when AJ and I win the tag championships, we can travel across the U.S. and represent those the same way that I do with my championship, the same way AJ does with his, because we can walk onto any show and know that we can represent NWA all over the country. That's what it's about. And that's why I like teaming with AJ too, is, like I said, motivated. He's not just sitting at home, oh, I've got this promotion at home, so I can just do that a couple times a month or a couple times a year. No, AJ's out there traveling. He's getting better every single time. He's working hard. That's what both of us do. And you know that's what the entire family is about, is pushing ourselves.
Shut up, Spanky.
Well, I mean, it's you know, I think you guys cut a interview one time. I think it was actually the first podcast you two did on the NWA podcast. You told Joe Galley that you and AJ back when you were kids, your parents would kind of scold you a little bit, and they'd finally tell you something like, I think it was like, you guys are going to grow up and have to depend upon each other. And you kind of sort of, you swerved us a little bit when you said, and AJ, I think that you took the last one. So I know what you're talking about. AJ knows what you're talking about. But again, family's family, and you know, cousins or brothers. The Fullers were some of the best wrestlers that East Tennessee ever had. You know, there were brothers, there were cousins. The Wright brothers were two of the top heel in this whole entire area. They were brothers. So you go back in history, and AJ, you can speak to this, but if you go back in history, East Tennessee itself has been about family. Whether it's the Fullers, whether it's the Cazanas, whether it's the Welches, it's always been about family. So, I mean, like I said, you know, AJ, you can speak more to that than I'm sure, you know, Spank could. So,
I mean, Spanky doesn't know very much about professional wrestling. Nobody wants to be a part of the Spank Bank. So,
hey, look, there's a bunch of little Spanks running around.
No, there's not.
God, this is going to go south.
Find a woman that loves you very well, Spanky, to make that.
Hey, I got an old lady. She can do some pretty good things with a corn and a cob.
This is a wrestling show, not a talking about corn or anything else.
She do street corn.
We'll do a cooking
I got Gustavo
show.
in here.
My sister-in-law does do a cooking show.
Oh, I love Gustavo. Tell the guys I said hello.
Gustavo and Abby's all in there. Dude, she throw together some homemade.
How's the baby doing?
Gustavo's mom's going to come up and cook for us. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Yeah, we got some.
Can we go back to?
Oh yeah,
NWA Power.
Yeah, no. When we get these U.S. tag titles, I guess, like, you know, there's a lot of East Tennessee teams that probably deserve a shot, or think they deserve a shot. I just got done smacking those two fools around last Saturday, so we'll let them heal up from that.
I think they won.
You wouldn't know. You weren't there.
I mean, I can see you guys come if you all do win. I can see you guys coming in here and facing the Stu Crew or Axton Ray and Blanco Loco. I can see you guys facing Level X. I can also see you guys, honestly, AJ, I can see you guys facing.
Silas and Devin want to.
I was going to say the Mason-Dixon line.
Piece of the pie too.
The ill-begotten. Plunkett's with us here. He's part of your TVA gimmick.
Yeah, we don't talk about the ill-begotten.
Well, they're going to be in Petros as well. So,
well, that's a mistake. It's just because they live right up the road and they ain't got nothing better to do, I guess, on a Friday night.
I understand that, but Plunkett is a part of the Joe Cazana Promotions promotion. I mean, he's part of JCP.
And we've already fought them last time we were in Knoxville too, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mormons.
I understand.
Plunkett lost that match for all of us.
He did. So. He did. And Deals was part of the problem as well. And I think he got what was coming to him that night too. But
which still remains on the NWA USA intro, by the way, the Joe Cazana right hand.
Yeah,
point that
but
out.
that was hitting
That's
Magic
true.
Jake.
Oh, same thing.
Well, yeah,
Everybody
but
can get
nerds.
it. That's
They're both nerds.
it looks good in slow motion. That was actually, it's not slow motion. It was actually my actual punch. That's how slow
That
I've
was
got
full speed.
through the years. Now you wouldn't be saying that if I was still 25 years old. But then again, you wouldn't be here either. But to go back to NWA Power, we've got next Tuesday, January 31st. It's going to be probably one of the best shows that Knoxville has had in quite some time, at least since we were there for Always Ready. I know there's some tickets that's still available. I did hear that they were starting to sell a little bit faster right now. But as far as what's going on,
I've posted all the way from Broadway to Kingston Pike and Cedar Bluff, from Sevierville and Dandridge. I know Kenzie Page is out here running the roads too,
sure,
down to Decatur. I mean, I think I did the count today. There's less than 100 tickets left, I would venture to say.
I would say
I think all front rows sold out. I think
it
all
has.
like 3 seats for second and third row are sold out. I know a good chunk of general admission sold out. I just looked at the thing today because I had some of the the Cannons hit me up, Kendall Cannon and his daddy, asking about it. So, yeah, I mean, tickets are moving fast. This is going to be the best wrestling show to grace Knoxville since Always Ready.
I think so as well.
That's easy to say because the Fed stays far away. They're here once a year. AEW's never showed their stupid faces here. Impact's never showed their faces here. Maybe back when it was TNA.
They did when it was TNA, and they put 100 people over there in the convention center.
I can show you. And this is the AJ Cazana's going to get on a soapbox about East Tennessee professional wrestling.
Well, you've got about 9 minutes, so.
Well, I can show you posters about in this area and especially in the Knoxville area, and there's not a one. I said this on Wrestle Talk last year in June, and they've not had me back since. There's not a one that can hold the jock strap or a candle in the wind, whatever the hell you want to say, to the NWA. Hell, most of these people on their posters couldn't spell NWA.
I agree 100%.
If you spot them the first 2 letters.
I get it, man. I mean, you're not telling me anything I don't know. King. You're preaching to the choir.
I'm the king. Knoxville's my town. That's all I want to say.
That's
it's
right.
my freaking town.
Well, Knoxville is definitely the home of the Cazanas.
What's a king do?
And I'm going to tell you,
God, Joe.
And you're talking about going on other shows and things like that. I choose not to put any other shows in that market over whatsoever. That's why I discuss strictly NWA and JCP right here. If somebody wants to talk SPCW or Imperial Pro or Pile Driver, then that's fine. If they want to talk about AML, that's fine as well. Those are the shows that I would support. RCW down in Texas where you are, Anthony, I would support them because of the way you talk about them. I feel like, and you guys can speak to this because like I said, we got about 8 minutes left. I think that you all versus the Fixtures has the possibilities of actually stealing the show that night. With everything that's going on, there's great matches up there, but I think that your all's match with the Fixtures, like Kyle and Joe were saying on that podcast, it's intriguing. It's 2 big teams, going at it. Boom, boom. I mean, I just feel like that you guys can definitely steal the show. I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, my thought, like I said, that's exactly why William Patrick Corgan has us fighting for those championships again. He saw it start in New Orleans, and we're 4 huge guys. AJ said to check the weight limit on the ring because we've seen big people in that ring.
I just bought new boards the other day.
But I'm like, there's 4 people in there that add up to a size that you haven't seen before, and we're
at least 1,200 pounds.
Yeah,
at least 1,200.
Yeah. And we're going to be fighting in that ring. It's not going to be anything other than a fight. You saw us against the Spectaculars. We're throwing them around. AJ's there every time that I need him. You saw us against the Now, where I got sucker punched on the outside. And all of a sudden, AJ knew it. He turned around. He took care of it. He had my back. And then he went on to win the match. I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. And it does have the chance to
I mean, we
steal the
whooped
show
up.
because of what
We
we
whooped
are.
up on Rhett Titus and Gustavo. We've done that. They've tried to
Yep.
put tag teams together. But you got us and the Fixers right now. Sure, you've got Mecca and Bastia, and they're the world
Oh, yeah.
champions and everything. But both of those
We'll
guys
fight them next.
stand in our shadows physically. And I love both those guys to death. Don't get me wrong. We're cool.
That's going to be a great fight when that happens. And hopefully,
that's the next one.
maybe even in Mexico.
Again,
March, who knows?
if you guys do end up becoming U.S. Tag Team Champions, that makes you the number one contenders for that Tag Team Championship. And honestly, Legursky and Bradley are both right. You are the number one team in the United States. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There are no quote unquote United States Tag Team Champions out there for any of the other organizations. The NWA is the only organization, in my opinion, that can boast the fact that they do have the United States Tag Team Championship. Always was that way. When the Midnights won it, same way. When the Southern Boys won it, same way. NWA was the only group that ever had that, and I don't, I know that I'm, proud to be an alumni of the old National Wrestling Alliance. I'm proud to be, connected with the NWA today. And I know that you two guys are proud as well, being connected with the National Wrestling Alliance. I mean, they have really done a lot of good stuff, within the last couple of years, especially during COVID. They tried their best to keep it going, and it was difficult. But coming out of COVID, I mean, look at exactly what they're bringing in. They're all about the young talent. They're all about you younger fellas that, need this opportunity. And family or no family, I'm proud of both of you. I've been proud to be in the corner with the two of you on two or three different occasions. And nothing would please me more than to go up to Knoxville and see you guys win the United States Tag Team Championships. And to be perfectly honest with you, just stick it in everybody's face that says you couldn't do it. That's my opinion. I know, AJ, you feel the same way. So,
well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. And you think that, I think this. I think I've told everybody this. If I worked my entire life to prove everybody else wrong, I'd have nothing else happy to do in life. So, it just proving people wrong is just something that comes second nature, second hand to going out there and achieving goals that I know both Anthony and I have, not only to become U.S. Tag Team Champions, but World Tag Team Champions, to become two of the best wrestlers to ever step into the NWA ring, which is a huge, huge, huge task if you think of all the names that have been in there. But in I guess in the journey to get to those goals, the side quests, if you will, for all you nerds out there, are to prove it's proving everybody wrong.
Agreed.
So
agreed. I did the same thing.
I don't let other people. There's about 5 people in this world that I care about what they think, especially when it comes to pro wrestling.
And Spank's not one of them.
It's sure as hell it's Spank. If
All
I
right,
wanted
guys,
to know
we
what know what a jackass's asshole looked like, Spanky, I'd ask.
We got about 2.5 minutes
because you'd have your head shoved up it.
All right, Anthony. Last parting thoughts, man, before the power, before the big live show.
I mean, it's exactly what you said. I don't post about other companies or things like that other people think are in competition. I post about NWA, about improving and bettering the company because we're there. Nothing makes me happier than the idea of us going to Knoxville specifically. I'd be so happy if we won them in St. Louis, but going into Knoxville, fighting the Fixers. Every other time that we fought for these, you got to think this is our third chance to win them. And there's a reason for that. It's because NWA sees us. They know exactly what we are. We're walking into Knoxville and we're going to win it. And I couldn't be happier to do it with anyone else other than AJ. We're going to go in, do exactly what the country gentlemen do, and the Fixers rule is over.
AJ, final words.
We're here to end the tyranny of the Fixers.
Spanky, you got anything?
And Wrecking Ball both are just a couple of gutless yellow jackasses
Still going.
who decide that they're kings. Oh yeah, I'm going. I don't want Spanky to get a word in edgewise.
If you
get more pissed off, man.
$5 off your total order at JCP Petros on March 17th.
That's a cheap plug, but that's cool. My thing is this, guys. But and I told them this last week. You all and the Fixtures are my two favorite tag teams there are right now, and I would still say that even if I wasn't related to you guys. Legursky and Jay Bradley are two tough individuals. They may have tyranny, yada yada yada, but they're still tough individuals, and you guys are tough individuals. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for both of you. I will see you both on Monday, I'm sure. We're going to wrap this thing up. I appreciate Anthony. I appreciate AJ. I appreciate the Spank for being on here. And all I can say is, fans, get out there, get your tickets for NWA Power next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. at the Knoxville Convention Center. This is Joe Cazana saying good night from lovely Greater Decatur, and we'll see you in Knoxville next week.
Talking about